fantastic job, but it just wasn't enough to outduel Justin Herbert and company. So, Max, what is the biggest story from last night's game?
Justin Herbert's the biggest story. Justin Herbert's having one of the greatest rookie seasons in the history of football at the quarterback position. And the team is talented, but they have, I'd say, the second worst coach in football right now behind Adam Gase, and it's holding Justin Herbert back. Justin Herbert's the story. By the way, the Raiders showed a lot of pluck yesterday, and Mariota played well. You know, you lose your starting quarterback, a guy comes in off the bench and plays like that, gives you a chance to win, and you're in overtime. It's not like you're just playing an opponent that's looking to go away. And Anthony Lynn, who makes a lot of mistakes clock managing at the end of games and just play calling throughout the game, I think has not really tapped into Justin Herbert's full potential. And what is that potential? You know, who is he most often compared to? Let me tell you the names that I've heard. On this show, I've heard you, Stephen A. Smith, compare him to who? Who did you compare him to? Do you remember?
Who are you talking about, Justin Herbert?
Yes.
I think I brought up Dan Marino.
You compared him to Dan Marino. And once upon a time, when you wanted to say the most talented ever, you would say Dan Marino. And you know who else I've heard him compared to on this network, on Get Up, Stephen A? Patrick Mahomes. Now, I ain't saying he's Marino or Mahomes, but Dan Marino was an awesome rookie, and in his second year was the MVP of the league. Patrick Mahomes, in his second season, but his first year starting, was the MVP of the league. That means the best player in football, Marino and Mahomes. And I'm not saying Herbert's quite that, but he is compared to those guys for a reason. And right now, if you were to say, rank the quarterbacks in the NFL, I know he's a rookie. I know he hasn't shown what he could do with a real coach yet. I know they have a losing record. I would only take 5 guys ahead of him, Stephen A. I'd take Mahomes. I would take Aaron Rodgers. I'd take Russell Wilson. I'd take Deshaun Watson. I would take Josh Allen, but I don't think for long. I would put Justin Herbert ahead of everyone else. If I had a signal caller to hand the ball to win a game, give me Justin Herbert. And understand, this is with a coach, Stephen A., who's calling quarterback sneaks and bootlegs when the defense knows it's coming. You know, even when Herbert takes a sack, it's the right thing to do. You can't throw the ball away in that situation. You're like, even when he takes, it could be intentional grounding, even when he takes a sack, you go, that's a smart play. It's not just the arm talent, which is ridiculous. He has a powerful arm. He's throwing laser beams and he's accurate down the field. His football IQ already, again, playing for a coach who's not getting the most out of him, is really very impressive. He doesn't have the evidence to say he's elite yet, but if you ask me who I'd take ahead of him, there are only 5 guys in the NFL right now.
Let me tell you why you're wrong. You're wrong, Max Kellerman, because you've been saying that about Justin Herbert for weeks. So ultimately, a story gets old. I'm not denying anything that you're saying about what we're seeing from him as a rookie. I've been very, very impressed with him. As far as I'm concerned, a strong candidate for Rookie of the Year honors, if not the flat-out winner. I love what I'm seeing from him, make no mistake about it. But I'm saying you've been saying that since the first week you saw him. So we've been talking about Justin Herbert week after week after week. Ultimately, you got to have a different headline. And as it pertains to this specific question about what we peel from last night's game, what I peel from it is John Gruden. John Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders was 6-3. They have lost 4 of their last 5. Max, it should be 5 straight if it wasn't for the boneheaded defensive call by Greg Williams with 5 seconds left in the game against the Jets. The Las Vegas Raiders should be on a 5-game losing streak. That's unacceptable. This is John Gruden's 3rd year. At the time, since he's arrived, they're like 18-28. I thought when they were 6-3, I called them my sleeper. I liked what I was seeing from them. Ever since then, they can't stop a cold. Their defense can't get it done when it counts. You got this kid Mullen and Nixon, both of your corners, making mistakes late in the game, giving up that 53-yard bomb last night, to basically put the Chargers in position to win the game. You're just watching some of the things that are taking place. You're the 30th ranked defense in the National Football League. You're like 26th against the pass. What the hell is going on? And then you got Josh Jacobs. He's a workhorse. I like Josh Jacobs. But you need to average better than 3.7 1.7 yards a carry. You just need to do that. That's number one. You've got Waller. You've got Renfro. You got Ruggs. But something about you don't really believe in Derek Carr. I know he went down with the hamstring injury last night. But again, they had lost 3 or 4 coming in the last night's game. Derek Carr was the quarterback. He wasn't hurt at that particular time. They should have lost 4 straight coming in the last night's game. Derek Carr was your quarterback at that particular moment in time. So right now, I'm looking at John Gruden. You're the $100 million man. You're the person that's making those decisions. Mike Mayock and all of those boys answer to you. We all know who's really, really running the Las Vegas Raiders. And what I'm seeing from them right now is not Raiders football from a traditional perspective. Hard-nosed, smash mouth, get at it. John Gruden's personality may be that way, but the level of production that I'm seeing from them, the Raiders look soft. They look soft, they ain't getting it done. And for the 3rd year since John Gruden has been there, they are on the outside looking in, which wouldn't be as bad if we saw incremental improvement. But to be 6-3 in that 3rd season, to be one of the sleepers in the team with just 7 games to go and to lose 4 games in 5 weeks when it should have been 5 because of the miracle against the New York Jets, it's unacceptable. And that's what I'm walking away with. Justin Herbert's a nice story, Max. But the $100 million man who, by the way, has it in his contract for incentives that could bump it to $120 million as a head coach, I'm not pleased with what I've seen from John Gruden over the last 5 weeks.
Well, I mean, the headline of the game, coming out of a situation where you're the only game, you're the national primetime game, and your rookie quarterback shows that he is elite. By the way, your rookie quarterback also tied the rookie touchdown passing record last night. Now, it was set by Baker Mayfield not that long ago, but he's clearly going to pass it. He has a couple more games. That's the peg for the story, and the story is Justin Herbert. The Raiders are a story, Stephen A. That's true. And right now they're 7-7, but consider, John Gruden took over a 4-12 team, then they were 7-9, and they're likely to split their last 2 games if things go according to the odds, right? The Dolphins and the Broncos, and wind up 8-8. 4-12, 7-9, 8-8. You're trending in the right direction, and don't forget, Gruden inherited his quarterback, who had a big contract and was difficult to move. Not that Derek Carr's played poorly this year overall, but maybe he wouldn't have been John Gruden's choice, right? So I don't think that's the story, that the Raiders are trending in the wrong direction. As you said, this has been going on. But when a guy like Justin Herbert in a quarterback class with Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa, and he's the 3rd guy out of those 3, right? A couple of years ago, he was the golden boy and tank for Justin Herbert, Giants fans were saying, and then he kind of lost some luster. People didn't believe in him quite the same way. And for him to come out, and Burrow's hurt, of course, but even before he got hurt, Justin Herbert was out playing both guys drafted ahead of them, and they're both playing well. He is special. And last night is more evidence for a team, Stephen A. If I was a fan of the Chargers, you're thinking draft pick. Oh, let's get a draft pick. Nope, I'd rather win that game. That so-called meaningless game, even though I'm not in the playoffs, I get it. My team's not in the playoffs. I'd rather win that game. Because when I look at the talent on both sides of the ball on that team and that young quarterback, I'm thinking, just give me a coach. We're going to win a Super Bowl.
Stephen A., I want to step in here because Max obviously very high on Justin Herbert. So I want to ask you, are you in agreement with Max that Justin Herbert is a top 6 quarterback in the NFL?
I'm not sure. I haven't thought about that, but I don't mind. I'm not completely averse to that. I think that when you look at Justin Herbert right now, if we're thinking off the top of my head, okay, I'm going to look at obviously Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. I'm going to look at quarterbacks like that. I'm going to pay attention to it. Deshaun Watson, I certainly wouldn't put him ahead of Deshaun Watson regardless of the struggles that the Houston Texans have had. It's not his fault. If Bill O'Brien had left DeAndre Hopkins there, we wouldn't be having this conversation about about the Texans, and I think we'd be looking even more so at Deshaun Watson. So that's 4 quarterbacks right there. I'm sure that I can think of a few others in terms of the way that they've been playing. But in the end, Justin Herbert, you can't just rule out the fact that he looks like a top 6, top 7 quarterback thus far this year. I'm not going to call him that definitively, but he has looked on that level in his rookie year. We can't ignore that.
Yeah, I call him top 6 with a bullet. I'd say it's with a bullet. Like, I hear you, Stephen A. Those are the guys, the 4 that you just checked off, I think, right away. Those are the top. Mahomes, Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, or Wilson Watson. Those four, you put them aside, they're in a different category. And then Josh Allen, and I can't think of anyone I'd rather have than Herbert right now.
Well,
and Lamar Jackson not included in that list.
Josh Allen, yeah. Josh Allen would be fifth. Until a couple of weeks ago, we certainly would have put Ben Roethlisberger up in there. So I just look at it from that standpoint. Again, it's in a ballpark. The way Justin Herbert is playing right now, it's in a ballpark.
Mm-hmm. Well, just to reiterate, Max, you said this before. Justin Herbert did set a record last night. He has 27 touchdown passes on the season as it stands so far. Likely will get more, as we know. And right now he is tied with Baker Mayfield for most touchdown passes in a